Turn to our main story now, because overnight India has launched a series of missile strikes on targets in Pakistan and on Pakistan-administered Kashmir, increasing tensions between those two nuclear states.
The Indian Foreign Secretary said that the attacks were aimed at destroying terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan. Pakistan military says 26 civilians have been killed. Well, our international editor, the King, was among the guests on the blue carpet for the premiere of Sir David Attenborough's new documentary Oceans in London last night. Learn to recover, can regenerate.
Yeah, both looking really well.
Yes.
Right, it's coming up to 9:15 and
Carol's response to an attack last month by suspected Islamist militants in Indian-administered Kashmir, which killed a number of tourists. Pakistan denies any involvement in that incident. With the very latest, here's our South Asia correspondent, Samira Hussain.
Now, letter writing was hugely important for soldiers on the front line and, of course, for their families back here during the Second World War. It was a way of keeping spirits up and easing the pain of separation.
Now, to mark the 80th anniversary of VE Day, the Imperial War Museums has asked people to send in any letters their relatives wrote during that time to show what life was like in wartime Britain. We can speak live now to Dr. Miles Pattenden, who is a historian of the... It is under threat and needs urgent government help to secure its future.
Yeah, representatives from the industry are going to meet ministers later today to discuss the crisis. And Ben... Now, watching your baby take their first steps is a magical moment for mums and dads, but lots of them worry about when is the right time for toddlers to hit the milestone. I mean, it's like when you go to those antenatal classes, or it'll be postnatal, wouldn't it? Postnatal. And they're all comparing notes about my little...
And it gets competitive.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, I love that. Well, new research has found the age at which infants learn to walk is actually genetic. You can't encourage them, you can't teach them. I suppose you could encourage them.
No carrots?
Well, carrots, you're very healthy.
I mean, like...
chocolate buttons.
Carrots and sticks, but not sticks, obviously.
Scientists have analysed the data from more than 70,000 babies and identified almost a dozen genetic markers that influence when they actually take their first steps. Now, the public inquiry into one of the worst treatment disasters in NHS history, the infected blood scandal, will reopen later this morning amid concerns about the speed of compensation payments.
The chair of the inquiry, Sir Brian Langstaff, has ordered 2 days of extra hearings after campaigners warned that they were losing faith in the process. And this comes nearly a year after the final report was published into the scandal.
Our health reporter Jim Reid has been hearing from one family who are speaking out for the very first time.
Now, almost 40 years ago, football fans headed to Bradford City's Valley Parade Stadium to watch them play against Lincoln.
There was excitement as underdogs Bradford were having one of their most successful seasons. But that atmosphere quickly changed when a fire suddenly broke out in the wooden stands.
We all remember it, don't we? It was one of the worst footballing disasters in history, killing 56 people, injuring at least 265 others. And now a new documentary is being released ahead of the anniversary to share the stories of the people who were there. Some of those victims' families a little bit later to see what they want, what they think of these proposals.
Now, it is 6:47 exactly, and Carol is with us this morning. Morning, Carol. You're bringing good news, I believe.
Now, judges are going to be given more powers to punish criminals who refuse to attend their sentencing in England and Wales, including longer jail terms and a loss of prison privileges.
Campaigners have petitioned for a change in the law after a series of high-profile offenders refused to face the families of their victims in court. We're joined now by the National Chair of the Prison, speaking to our colleague Nick Robinson, and the full interview is going to be available on BBC Sounds at 9 o'clock this morning and on the BBC iPlayer from 1 o'clock today. Just search for Political Thinking.
The time is coming up to 20 to 7 and John's here with 20 past 6. And a senior cabinet minister is warning that those recent cyber attacks on M&S, Co-op, Harrods should act as a wake-up call for all businesses.
Yes, Pat McFadden is expected to tell bosses that cybersecurity is not a luxury but an absolute necessity at a conference later today. Our senior technology reporter Graham Fraser has more. Now, here, the ceramics industry is warning that it is under threat and needs urgent help from the government to help secure its future.
Yeah, representatives are going to meet ministers later on to discuss the crisis facing the sector. And Ben
In his first interview since leaving the White House, former US President Joe Biden has warned that pressure from the Trump administration on Ukraine to give up territory to Russia is modern-day appeasement.
That's just one extract from Nick Robinson's exclusive interview. We'll play the whole thing later in the programme.
But now, at 18 minutes past 6, I'm delighted to say welcome to Breakfast with John Kay and Sally Nugent.
Good morning, 6 o'clock. Here are headlines.